I like my Atari VCS, and I've done a number of videos on the system, and the comments that I see the most are from people that say they like it too. They just wish that the price was lower, like way lower. And I get it, $399 for an all-in bundle and $299 for just the base system is a tough pill to swallow, especially when other options exist for the same price or cheaper. Well, apparently GameStop felt the same way, because 10 days after they sold the base Onyx Atari VCS for $150, they sold the all-in bundle for $99, and they sold out super quick. And while that's a phenomenal deal for the Atari VCS, and even more so for a mid-level PC, it brings up a very important question. What is the future of the Atari VCS? And let's be honest here, not a lot of people saw the Atari VCS as a viable gaming solution from the original announcement, and the fact that it even reached retail shelves is a feat in of itself. The Atari VCS has been routinely updated with new games added throughout the year of its retail existence, which is great for people who bought into the system early on. But the deep discount wasn't initiated by Atari. It was solely GameStop deciding that they would no longer carry the Atari VCS. Perhaps it was spurred by the Intellivision Amico debacle, where GameStop incidentally charged for pre-orders for a system despite not having it in stock. Atari didn't mention the price drop either on their Twitter or Discord, which leads me to believe that they were caught unaware as well by the sudden price drop. When you look at other retailers, Micro Center has sold out of the Atari VCS as well, and it appears that they delisted it from their site with controllers marked down to just $30. Best Buy still stocks the Walnut version at full retail price, and you can still purchase both the Onyx and Walnut version directly from Atari at full price. But the sudden price drop really grabbed headlines, and if you were on the fence about buying an Atari VCS and you missed that $100 deal, you probably don't want to buy the system now since it's going to be at full price, because price drops like that don't really instill confidence on the system's lifespan, especially when they happen just a year after the retail release. Even though eBay sold listings are still selling for around $250, a lot of the suspicions that the Atari VCS will be abandoned soon are just compounded by that price drop. As I mentioned in my most recent video, Atari really hasn't pushed the Atari VCS that much lately. It's used more as a picture when pitching other Atari IPs. I mean, how could you not include the stylus VCS in your pictures? But I mean, they're still promoting it on Twitter, but not as much as you would think they would. In the month of April, there were only 2 mentions of buying the Atari VCS. 4 if you count both the Atari account and the specific VCS account. So they're still talking about it, but there are other things that Atari would rather promote than the VCS, like these canvas shoes, for example. Their Medium blog is still silent since August, and there hasn't been any real official announcements in the 2 Discords that I'm in outside of some maintenance updates. Atari has gone through a lot of structural changes as well since the Atari VCS was announced. Atari SA split into 2 with a gaming division and a crypto division, and Wade Rawson is now at the helm of the gaming division, and it does appear to me that they're slowly moving away from the Atari VCS and focusing on things that will actually make the money faster without having to actually support a platform that the mainstream wasn't too excited to jump into in the first place. And it's evident that a shift is happening. The release of the Atari XP program, which aims to offer physical versions of games for the Atari 2600 that were never released, is in full swing. Atari VCS owners will get the ROM for free, although it's already included in a ton of Atari compilations, including some that are on the Atari VCS. And those games were supposed to be available by now, but they keep getting pushed back. While I can't blame them too much given the way that the global supply chain is operating, I would think that they would have learned to underpromise these release dates so that way they don't have to delay so much. They are also publishing recharged titles for their classic games and releasing those on multiple platforms, including the Atari VCS. It's even listed as a platform on their end screen, so at least it's still in their lexicon. Atari VCS does have some exclusive content with those recharged titles as a reward for people who backed the console before it even came out. Still, there aren't any exclusive games available for the Atari VCS, at least not anymore. Some games were timed exclusive, and those are no longer the case. This is a Linux box, so if your game works on the Atari VCS, it works on PCs. And hey, if you are a game developer and you want to publish your game on the Atari VCS, you can still do that, and they give you an 88% cut of the revenue. I'm not a game developer, so I might be just hand-waving the difficulty of publishing a game wherever, but it might be worth your time. And so it seems like the future of the Atari VCS might be to sell the remaining stock of the systems and only support the console by releasing enhancements and security fixes while moving on to more profitable ventures. Some people think that this means that Atari is planning on a more powerful system, but I don't think that's the case. The power of the Atari VCS isn't the problem. It's a market placement. It's really hard to justify the Atari VCS as a game system if you don't want to tinker with it, and I don't think that they could create a more powerful system and keep it at the same price point of the current VCS offering, especially less than a year after delivering the original system. The only new hardware solution that I could see happening is a handheld, if they could offer it below $200. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we saw a Lynx 3 and it came with a collection of Lynx games along with other classic Atari games, and then it also had the ability to play what's on the VCS currently, kind of like an Atari Steam Deck or something like that? But now it's becoming more and more apparent that the Atari VCS was just a way to make headlines, and now that their foot is in the door, they're shifting focus to software to rehabilitate their brand and earn back the trust of gamers. I'm hoping that we'll see more cartridge-based games getting reprints, Atari Jaguar games, maybe some upgraded replacement controllers for the 5600 and 7800. I'm just guessing here, but baby steps. Atari has a deep catalog to utilize and can exist in the modern age without having to create a proprietary system for it to exist on. But let me know what you think. Did you snag an Atari VCS for $100 or did you pay full price? I actually picked up an extra Atari VCS because that deal was just too good to pass up. If you like this video, give it a like and share it with those who might find it interesting. And if you're new here, consider checking out my other content. I primarily talk about retro video game prices, but I have other essay type videos like this one coming soon. So subscribe if that interests you. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stinktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nintendo, and I'll see you next time.